Hey everyone, the leadership at WellTech have asked me to put together this presentation to help prepare you for the company's ventures in Japan. Now, Japan has a very different culture than America's, and there are certainly a lot of differences. Some of them are big differences, some of them are insignificant differences, seemingly insignificant differences, I should say. And even the most minute differences can really come to the forefront in the workplace, and that is why this presentation is not only important but vital to our success in Japan. So let's begin. So culture affects communication. I listed 3 points here. There are many other points, and I'll give you further reading later, but right now I want to focus on these 3 points. Now, using shorthand, okay, we're all guilty of using shorthand, certainly, and some of us don't even realize it. Okay, a popular example of shorthand, I would say, is just look at USA, right? That stands for United States of America. Other countries, other cultures, they might not understand that. They might not have the same meaning for USA. They might not even use that for any kind of word to have meaning, right? And I mean, certainly probably a lot of people know USA, but that's just an example of shorthand. And so the second one is speaking different languages. Now, this one seems kind of obvious to be a kind of a barrier in communication, right? But there's things such as Google Translate, or we could bring our own translators if we need to, right? So this is an issue, but it's something that we can kind of work around too, like reducing our use of shorthand, right? And so having different understandings. Now, this one, so the word tuna in English obviously means the fish, but in some languages, in Spanish, tuna means it's like a prickly pear, right? So there's these words have different meanings. So we just have to be cognizant of what we're saying and make sure we're not saying anything offensive or saying anything we're not actually intending to say, right? And so to our next point, written communication. So Japan is a high context culture. See this here, high context, and USA is a low context culture. See, I even used the shorthand right there. Didn't even plan that, that just happened. But so high context cultures, okay, and this is my understanding of this is high context cultures, it's not necessarily what you're saying. It is, but it's also how you're saying it. They really take that into account. And with Japan, especially, you'll see in the next slide, they are very, there's a big emphasis on spoken word, right? They prefer spoken communication. We prefer written communication, you want detail, right? So about this, low context cultures, okay, they have they prefer things explicit, very explicit. Doesn't necessarily matter how you say it, it's the just what you say is the law, right? And so let's go to the next point. Spoken communication, right? So USA prefers written communication, again with the USA. So, right, we just like it explicit, we like it direct, we like being told what to do. Japan prefers verbal communication, right? So going back to like high context, they like looking at your body language, your expressions, your tone of voice. You'll see this in the next slide too. And it's just they just prefer verbal communication. It's a very high context culture. So meetings, okay? And you'll see this again with the body language, but meetings. So start with a bow, okay? So it's the sign of respect. In America, we kind of start with handshakes, other kinds of greetings, right? But in Japan, you start with a bow. And then the second point is be silent for speaker, okay? Vocal communication is absolutely important in Japan. And because that is such an important thing, you have to be attentive when the person's speaking because that's how they actually get it across. And it's also a respect thing. You should be doing that in America anyways, but in Japan especially. And then using friendly body language. Again, Japan's a high context culture, so we have to be really cognizant of our body language, okay? And it's just something that you have to just be really aware of. Decision making. Americans employ fast decision making. We're pretty quick. Japanese decision making is slower and involves stages. So again, this This again goes back to body language as well. These meetings are going to be longer than what we're typically used to. So you want to make sure your body language is attentive and alert and not boring, not slumped like this, just nothing like that. Just very good body language. And so this slide, here's some additional recommendations and resources. Okay. This book, Business Communications Writing Across Cultures, it's a good book. It has a lot of information about the differences in our cultures and how that can affect communications. Another recommendation is to replay this slide because it's got some good information in it, in my opinion. And then again, just control your body language. Be very, very cognizant of your body language. Thank you. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you taking your time and listening to this slide. I hope it was a help. And then this last slide is the bibliography. All right. Thank you.